Hello, beautiful people. I would like to introduce to your attention a fragrance from the Bozzini brand, Lady. There are many inaccuracies regarding the origin of this perfume. Some sources claim that the brand belongs to an Israeli company, Entercosma, which produces personal care products, and that the Italian name was used for marketing purposes. Other sources state that the brand is originally Italian because an art director from Verona, David Bozzini, had a hand in its creation. On my bottle you can see the inscription Intercosma, West Genova, made in Italy. I checked the address, and it does appear to be a real location of cosmetics manufacturer. However, some sources claim that Intercosma is actually an Israeli company founded in 1949 and known for producing fragrances for the Bozzini brand. If you know the true story behind the origin of this perfume, please let me know in the comments. I would be happy to learn more. Bozzini Lady has already been discontinued, but you can still come across bottles of it on various online stores. Unfortunately, there aren't many reviews about this perfume, but if you would like, you can always buy a miniature. I chose to get the full bottle for my collection, not only because I admire the old perfume school, but also because the fragrance is contained in an unusual bottle. The Bozzini brand released two fragrances, including the men's cologne, Bozzini, and the women's fragrance, Lady, launched in 1980. Since the fragrances of this brand were little known, it remains unclear how exactly they were distributed, whether through pharmacies or stores. Based on the fact that the offers on marketplaces are limited, most likely they were released in small quantities. Unfortunately, I couldn't buy the fragrance in its original box. The seller wasn't able to send it to me because of shipping difficulties between countries. So, I bought this one, and with it came a miniature bottle of the same fragrance. It looks very cute. The packaging of the miniature is exactly the same as the full-size bottle. The box is decorated with gold lines, and the brand name in the middle looks like a seal. The miniature has doors that open like a window, which I think is very charming and interesting design. Now, let's take a closer look at the bottle itself. It is quite heavy, ellipsoidal in shape and framed in plastic. The shape reminds me of something vintage. In terms of design, this bottle really stands out with its extravagance compared to others. The liquid inside is a bright yellow color, as vivid as the scent. Even before spraying, it is noticeable straight from the bottle. On the internet, you can find different descriptions of this fragrance, including fruity notes. The official pyramid states that it contains iris, ylang-ylang, woody and powdery notes. Let's check if that's true. As you can see, the spray is not very diffuse, but you don't need much of this fragrance. One small spray is enough. From the first moment, you can recognize the old-school style in this scent. It opens with aldehydes and a bright note of ylang-ylang. I would say that this composition needs time to reveal itself. About an hour may pass from the first application before the fragrance softens. For those who are not familiar with aldehydes, I would compare this note to a shade of rough soapiness in a fragrance. But in this bouquet, the aldehydes fit well into the composition. They intertwine with the ylang-ylang, and a little later, as they warm up, they soften with a powdery note. The powdery aspect isn't very strong here, but gives a faint cosmetic touch. Without it, the scent would be too sharp. I don't detect iris or woody notes, but to my nose it feels like a well-made old-school, non-sweet shipper with a strong ylang-ylang note wrapped in soapy aldehydes. The other declared components most likely balance the scent, but I don't feel them much and the composition seems rather monotonous. This perfume is not for year-round wear. Its best season is fall, when the weather is dry and pleasant. The rest of the time it feels prickly and overly soapy on me. The sillage is noticeable but short, while the longevity is incredible. Even after washing, you can still detect traces of the fragrance. I can't say for certain whether this scent is strictly for women. Nowadays on the market many types of fragrances are labeled as unisex. Bozzini Lady feels to me like a non-sweet scent that works for both genders. Who might enjoy this fragrance? Most likely fans of old-school perfumes and classic shippers. Compared to the modern niche perfumery, it won't cause shock, surprise or disgust. But if you are just beginning your perfume journey, I wouldn't recommend buying a full bottle. This perfume is a vivid representative of its time, and it will definitely have its admirers. Thanks for watching. I wish you a wonderful day and the energy to accomplish everything you want.